Another video for my son. Started the series with the premise of imagining I'm walking with my son, taking our dog for a walk when he's older, giving him words of advice in case I may not make it so when he gets that old, or even if he does, he can go back and watch it and see it, utilizing free video storage on YouTube versus trying to save it on my devices. Anyways, I've been talking to him. Last few conversations have been on forgiveness. One was based off of the idea, right? Things we need to remember with forgiveness. One, just how utterly forgiven we are, and how we're, just in terms of our relationship with God and with Jesus Christ, how we are forgiven, how great the grace is that we've been afforded, even for those who have had hard lives or in the midst of a hard time. We are still being afforded grace every day, and we are being forgiven of things that we do and things that we have left undone. Classic dog going to the bathroom in the middle of the street. Hopefully it's just pee, so I don't have to pick it up. Pluto. Anyways, he was sick. He was sick last night. I wake up multiple times during the evening, 2 times. Ended up sleeping with him on the couch, just so it could be closer to the door. Anyways, that's beside the point. So forgiveness. One is our forgiveness in terms of our relationship with God. 2, talked about last time, is our relationship towards each other. How we are just as in need of forgiveness as the other person. This is extremely hard. I had a friend who was severely mistreated by another person, and for a while I had strong anger and bitterness in my heart towards this other person who mistreated my dear friend. And again, it was a process of, and that was another thing we talked about, especially on the first forgiveness video. Forgiveness, again, is a process. It's a process, and I still, when I think of that, it's still something I remember. And so, but knowing we are just as forgiven as the other person. And in need of forgiveness ourselves just as much as we need to forgive them. And third, today I wanted to just highlight just understanding, right? Anger, holding on to that anger, to bitterness, resentment, to hurt. Common thing you'll hear, you hear sometimes is, right? Anger is like taking poison every day, hoping that it hurts the other person, right? You yourself are drinking that poison and hoping that it's hurting the other person. It's not. It's only hurting ourselves. So another reason we need to forgive is it's good for our heart. It's good for our soul. It's good to release that power that they have over us. I know there have been people I've had anger and resentment towards. When I was in high school, I trained, my whole life was around football, and I trained so hard, especially for my final senior game when we would face our crosstown rivals, right? And that was like the biggest game of the year. Thousands of people would come and watch. And I started the whole year with just through a confluence of people coming back from injuries and other things. I ended up only seeing the field 3 times. And And I held a lot of bitterness and resentment towards my coach for that. And he knew how hard I trained, and he knew I had earned the right to be a starter. Like, it wasn't like I deserved it, but like I earned it. Like, I was better than people that were starting. But they're like, but you're our utility guy, and if somebody gets injured, we need you to be able to fill in, because I could fill in almost any position on defense. But no one got injured. And so it was the final game. And I was just like, man, I sacrificed so much for this. And that sacrifice was just like, it just felt like it was peed on. And for a long time, I harbored bitterness and anger and resentment in my heart towards the coach for that. And it took a long time to, again, just realize I was just taking poison, hoping he had no idea. It didn't bother him. It wasn't even on his radar that this had been an issue. And so I was hanging on to it, hoping, having a grudge. And it didn't do anything. It didn't serve a purpose. It didn't make me a better person. In fact, it made me a worse person. So that's another part of forgiveness. We need to forgive so that we could be the people that we know God has created us to be. We could be the people, we could be the person. You, my son, could be the person that God has created you to be, the beautiful, wonderful, and amazing person. Not one that's distorted and corrupted by anger and hate in your heart. Please forgive your mom and I for any things that we've done between now and then, even earlier. There's things we don't know about. I feel like we've tried our best. We've definitely done everything out of love and hoping to love and serve you the best we can. So if there's something, we just ask for forgiveness. Like that. But you wouldn't hang on to that. To be able to come to Jesus and let it go. Again, it's a process. So these things keep coming up, right? Me dealing with the coaching issue kept coming. The thought would come up again and again. And I'd keep having to come to God. God, here you go. It's coming up again. I'm coming to you. Here you go. It's coming up again. Sometimes I have to talk to you. Hey, dealing with this anger, dealing with this frustration, this resentment, and they would talk me through, let me process it. All right. I love you, son. Talk to you later.